Perfect. We are on.
Okay, welcome everyone to TedxVail, a speaker coaching session focused on visual. And today we're going to make some do's and don'ts about persuasive visual communication. And with us, we have a couple of our TedxVail 2015 speakers. And so let's start with you, Nabil, and we'll move to the one right after the other. Just please introduce yourself, how you're connecting with TedxVail, and where you're calling in from.
Yeah, hi, this is Nabil calling in from Denver, Colorado, and I'm part of the TedxVail team.
Okay, great. And also, I might say that in the past, you've been solely responsible for all of the presentations, so you bring that expert.
Definitely. I'll share my what I've learned through the years as well.
One right after the other. Just please introduce yourself, how you're connecting with TedxVail, and where you're calling in from.
Yeah, hi, this is Nabil calling in from Denver, Colorado, and I'm part of the TedxVail team. Is that better?
Let's try it. Jill, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay.
We're not seeing your video right now.
Okay, I'm seeing my video.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Jill Squires. I'm a clinical psychologist in Eagle, Colorado, and my talk is going to be on the changing face of friendship, and I'm hoping to call it Why Can't We Be Friends?
Fantastic. Okay. David, are you with us?
I am David Thorson. I am an adventure sailor from Lake Okoboji, Iowa, and I am the accidental explorer who discovered climate change by going out to sail around the world.
Fantastic. Let's see. Jill and David, could you just wave your hand so we can do a test to see if we are actually seeing you on screen right now?
Yeah.
Nabil, are you seeing them?
Yeah, I can see that.
You can. Okay, I can't. Can you see my video?
Yeah, we can see your video.
Okay, one moment. This is Basha calling in. Hi, Basha.
Now, Bill and Kat, I apologize too. I'm going to have to duck out at 2:45.
Okay.
My time.
So in 35 minutes or so.
Yes, 1:35 your time.
Okay, perfect.
Everyone. Am I reconnected in with all of you now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Nabil, could you just check to make sure that this one is still being recorded?
Yep, it is.
Okay, great. All right. So on the phone with us is Basha Erlan. So Basha, if you could just do a quick check-in where you're calling in from, and what is the title of your talk so far?
Well, I just have to say this is more than frustrating because the electricity went out in my house. And so I don't have Wi-Fi. I'm using my cell phone so that I can, because my landline isn't working, nothing's working. So I don't know what's happening. I'm calling from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And the title of my talk is undecided, but it will be talking about the books that I do that are embedded in seeds and put into rivers. And I know today we're talking about visuals, so the fact that I can't see you all is more than frustrating.
The good news is that it will be recorded and you'll be able to access the link. and it's not the only time we're going to talk about visuals. It's just the first time. Today we're going to talk about some do's and don'ts, and then next time we're going to go over something. Can you read that? Is that right to you? Can you see that presentation?
Not clearly.
Not clearly. Okay. I'm going to send this to you all so that you can work on it. But what this is a presentation slide map. So today we're going to talk about what you want to have in your visuals, and then next time we're going to talk about paring back those visuals. I want you to go big and gather as much of your story and your talk visually as possible, and then we're going to start to attack the editing of your talk. Sometimes this is a more effective way of getting at the essential message and the ways in which you can tell it than looking through a script, which sometimes can be, oh, but I love that turn of phrase, or I love that soundbite, and you get attached to a particular word crafting, and it becomes less clear about what's extraneous. Okay, so Lisa, welcome. It looks like you're blonde these days.
I have been. It's probably just
okay. Okay, you want to just check in where you're calling from and what is your title of your talk so far?
I'm in Boston, Massachusetts, and I still don't have a title. I graduated in May, and I've been kind of running around doing a bunch of stuff, so I don't have a working title today.
Okay, all right. So what we're going to do is just go through some do's and don'ts for visuals. And what I am encouraging everyone to do is to gather as much of their story visually as possible, and we'll attack editing the talk through a visual story. And we'll do that next time. This time we're just going to talk about some things that we want to do and we don't want to do. So what I'm going to do right now is share a screen, and I want to make sure that you all can see this. Let me know when you see that.
I can see it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see it.
Okay. So we're going to focus today on telling your story in pictures. And I'm going to show you some things that we want to do and some things that we don't want to do. What we do want to do is to create a visual story that people can get in 3 seconds. So in order to do that, you have to think like a camera. So imagine that instead of having 500 people in, oh, hey, I have some important news I want to tell you first of all. We have a date. It's Friday, February 9th, 2015, and it will be at the Villar Center in Beaver Creek. This is really, really big, important news. It's the biggest and most beautiful location in all of the Valley, and that time frame should be really a great time. It's after the holidays, and it's before the World Alpine Ski Championships. So we'll have rehearsal on Thursday 8th, and then Friday the 9th will be the event itself. And we'll get more details to you about all of that, but I just wanted you to have that date because I know many of you were wanting to make arrangements. Okay, so instead of having 500 people sitting in the Villar Center, you're now going to have 500 cameras. And what these cameras want to do is take these awesome pictures of you with your visual story behind you. So things that you want to do is tell us your story in pictures. So to do that, we want to start with a clean space. And you want to be consistent in your storytelling. And you want to limit your text. Here is an example of something you don't want to do, right? Now imagine you're sitting there in the back row and you have the speaker on stage and then you have this behind them. Okay, and I'm going to explain this, Basha. It's a picture of two pictures. It has a title, it has a subtitle, and then it has 4 lines of text. So the point of this is do not use too many words. Speak through your images, because what we want people to do is mostly be listening to what you are saying and to further have an experience, an emotional connection with what they see on the screen behind you. So, limit your text. Say what you need to say with as few words as possible. And you want to coordinate your visual elements. Now, imagine here the speaker on the stage, and you have this standing behind you. It's a major topic, it's a subtopic, and then it's half a dozen bullet points, very complex statements. And so what would happen here is that the speaker is going to be in competition with the slide. So what you want to do is have as few words as possible, and definitely do not use bullet points. Next month when you bring your visual presentations to all of us, and I'll ask you to send them to us in advance of our hangout. So in 3 weeks, I'll ask you to send me a visual story of your talk. And if any of you have bullet points, I'll just immediately say, please remove this. Find another way of getting that information across. So what you do want to do is be creative. And so here we're transitioning from things that we don't want to do to things that we might consider doing. So I'm showing you this slide. It's a picture of the Alberta area in Canada, and then over the top of it is a quote. And so the quote is in quotes, and it gives the person who said it, and then it gives some sense of who that person is. So the piece that you want to really capture here is really the picture part. You wouldn't have all of the word parts. So Basha, the word part is additional information underneath that, and there's a picture with a quote over the top of it with an accreditation of who said it and who that person is. So we're moving from things that we don't want to do to things that we might consider doing. So what do you like about this? David, give me some things that appeal to you about this image. And what this image is several large format lemons with some text in one corner of it.
I like the fact that it's very simple. You know exactly what it is. The text does not confuse your visual understanding of the image, and I like that it's very graphic.
Great. Yeah. So simple can be sophisticated and interesting and easy to see anywhere in the stage. And how about this? Lissa, you want to give us what you like about this?
I think, well, I mean, the same thing that it's simple like the last one. I think the thing that I like the most about this one and the last one is how much the image kind of pops, like it's immediately interesting and you want to know what's going on in the image. But the other thing I like about it is while the image pops, it doesn't completely explain itself. So like you said earlier about when there's a lot of text, you have the speaker competing with the text in the image. With an image like this, not only is it interesting and fun to look at, but also you want to know what's going on here, so you want to listen to the speaker to know kind of why this image.
Yeah, and can you describe it for Basha?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's an individual wearing kind of a suit and a black hat, and with their arms kind of in the air and looking up, a huge smile on their face, with what looks like some money floating in front of them, and trees in the background, and then it says the Atlantic small in the corner.
Mm-hmm. And
okay, so I just have a quick question in terms of the text. Mm-hmm. Is it better not to use text at all and just talk?
Sometimes you might find that that's what you want to do, and other times you do want to emphasize some piece of what you're saying, and so it's really a creative decision on your part. I think the first thing you want to do is to begin gathering the visuals, and regarding the visuals, you have to be careful that they are, and Nabil, can you speak to this? Created under Creative Commons. Nabil?
Yeah, Kat, repeat that again.
Yeah. The piece about the visuals that you collect, it's best to use your own images if you can, because then there aren't any copyright challenges with that. But if an image is created under Creative Commons, I understand that that is allowed to use.
Yeah, that's allowed to use for sure. If it's if we have rights to that, if it's Creative Commons, then you could use it. If you aren't sure, just reach out to me. Let's talk about it. Make sure that we have rights to use that visual. A lot of times we do, but just reach out to me if you have any questions.
Okay. Okay, great.
The other thing, Kat, I was going to say about this image, which a lot of times as TED speakers, one thing we want to do is emotionally connect with our audience. And this image that you have here really helps that, because there is an emotional attachment with that image. You see someone's happy, it brings that emotion in you as well. So as you pick slides or images, also think about how you can connect with your audience emotionally through the image.
Great. Thanks so much for mentioning that. And this one, let's see, Lisa, Jill, David. Did anyone else join us?
Corinne's
Lisa,
here.
Jill, David, Corinne. Okay, Corinne. Welcome, Corinne.
Hi.
Can you see this image, and what do you like about it from all the TED Talks that you've seen? What about this image works for you in a TED Talk?
That question was for you, Corinne.
Oh. Sorry, where's the image?
It's Kat's picture that you see on her screen.
Are you seeing that?
No, I am. What was the question? I'm sorry.
What works for you in this image, and can you describe it first for Basha, because she doesn't have access to visuals right now?
Okay, so what I'm seeing is a young teenage girl who seems to be talking to somebody right in front of her. And as you're looking at it, it's an action shot, and she's getting a ball thrown at her, like dodgeball, and it's hitting her in the head. And what you see is her glasses a mess, and hair's kind of wisping in the wind. And on the ball, there's a big logo that says Action Ball.
And the font,
it's kind of like a Helvetica Arial, very modern, clean.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The red of the font reflects off the ball. In the background, it's kind of neutral. It's got a garage and a tree that's blurred out. It's really the text, I think, that pops. How is this?
Great. So how does this work for you? What parts of this do you like for a TED Talk?
I like that it's a simple graphic. I like that it draws your attention. Everybody can kind of relate to it. It's more, if I could see this relating to something that's a surprise or something that shocks you into action. It's youthful, it's playful, but I think it would help to emphasize a point.
Great, great. So, yeah, look for ways that you can bring action into it. And if you can't do it through a single image, consider using video. Video is another way of also capturing someone's quote. Perhaps instead of using a single slide for a quote, you might actually see if there's a way that you can get a person actually giving the quote. And there again, just be clear about Creative Commons licensing. Okay, how about data? Jill, will you be showing any data?
Yeah, I will be showing some data.
Okay, and do you have some ideas about how you'd like to do that?
I definitely don't want to just do graphs, which is what SurveyMonkey is giving me at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd like to do, so for example, one of the data points I'm going to talk about is how many people see their closest friends as being family members. So I was thinking of doing like a photograph of a family together, and then probably having a graph that shows how many people, just with 2 points on it, or even a line that shows how many people view their family members as being their only close friends and how many people don't.
Okay. Great.
Can I say something to that, just as a observer?
Yeah.
I think that your thought on including like an image of a family is a good one to kind of combine. I've been watching or I spent some time watching a bunch of TED Talks, and I think the idea of combining both, graphic information with something that will like let audiences emotionally connect is a really good idea, because I think for those people who maybe don't connect with graphs and numbers as well, also having that visual of people might be good to kind of get a buy-in to then connect and understand sort of what you're doing with the graph. And then also something that I've noticed in TED Talks is I think graphs can actually be really effective when they're really simple and easy to see. So like a very obvious pie chart that demonstrates something pretty straightforward in a really obvious way. And I think you were kind of alluding to this, but I think it goes both ways as well, though, too, is that they can also be confusing to read. But I guess I would just say that I've found that graphs sometimes can be really interesting and really helpful to put a lot of data in kind of one image when they're easy to read. But when they're not easy to read, I've noticed even myself spending more time trying to figure out the graph than I am listening to the person that's actually speaking, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Great, Lisa. Thanks for adding that. So in conclusion, probably want to be judicious with data and highlight the parts of it so it's visually clear what aspect of it is really relevant to what you're pointing out. And then the same for diagrams. You want to translate the abstract, invisible concepts into something that people can easily understand. So you basically want to turn the concepts into a visual picture that shows the scientific relationship between two ideas or theories. Does that make sense, Jill?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And then beyond that, sometimes you want to, well, let's just say, what works for you here in this picture? Anybody?
Humor.
Humor,
yes. Have fun with it.
It tells a story too.
Okay. So the picture is a cartoon of a man who is strapped to a homemade contraption, kind of like the carrot stick that is dangling a wad of money in front of him, and he is running rapidly, moving his arms to grab after that chunk of cash. And right before that cash, dug into the ground, is a grave with an empty headstone on it. And then the caption underneath that says, "Life of Modern People." So David correctly points out that humor is one way that you can make a point, especially times when you're making something serious and difficult for people to take in. Consider humor or cartoon or art or other ways of offering that. Excuse me just a minute. I'm going to see if this is someone else coming in. Hello? Hello, this is Kat.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello, this is Kat.
So is Kevin going to make it?
It's Ruth Myers' residence.
Nope, sorry, wrong number. I just wanted to be responsive in case one of our speakers was trying to get in. Okay, so there we are. And another thing to consider in breaking up kind of this constant slide after slide after slide is video. And especially for Emily, who's a two-time world champion for kayaking, video is probably going to be a big piece of her story. So let's see. Nabil, could you describe what this picture looks like for Basha? Because I think it goes to your point about emotion and images. Nabil, are you on mute? Let's see. Okay. Maybe someone else can describe this picture for Basha?
I can do it. It looks almost like a painting, but it's a photograph of a bay window. There's the ocean in the background. It's a bright sunny day, and it's, oops, I just lost the picture. It was a table and a chair, a small table like a writing desk, a chair. There's a book open on the table. I can't tell what else is on the table, and there's curtains that look like they're blowing in the breeze, and it says at the top in red, "Motion evokes emotion."
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So if you can, try to get motion or things that kind of move us along in your story. So the images want to bring us to an emotional connection with what your talk is about. Okay, now we're going to move into some do's and don'ts regarding fonts themselves when it comes to designing your images. So what you do want to do is have warm colors, reds and yellows, contrast with cool colors. And so on the left-hand side of these next half a dozen images, I'm going to show you an example of what I'm talking about, and then on the right-hand side, I'm going to give you a chance to imagine doing that yourself. So on the left is a green screen with a word cloud and some letters in it, and there's an image of a person in the lower left that's red, and the font is red. And then on the right-hand side, you have a pink screen with a blue person and a blue comment cloud with the words "hi" in it. And then, so I give you an example of a pink screen with two orange icons, one a hamburger, another one of a drink. And because the background is pink and the icons are orange, there's not very much contrast. But you'll find that if you were to change that to light blue, all of a sudden the orange pops out because it's a contrast. You know that, Basha, being an artist.
Yeah, that's that's why this is ironic today to talk to you about visuals, and I can't see the visuals. I can't. I actually.
I think that would be Murphy's Law.
Pat?
Yes.
I think that I am going to try to watch this online later because since the electricity out, it means my refrigerator's out, the freezer's out, everything.
Great.
And I need to call the city and just find out what's going on.
Okay, great.
So I'm so sorry about today. Today was the one I was most interested in.
No worries. We'll give you the link. You can watch it and then just gather your images and send them to me later and call later when your energy goes back on.
Okay, probably will be tomorrow.
Okay. Be well.
In terms of dealing with all this. All right.
Okay.
Big hug to everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye, Sha. All right. That will probably make it actually easier for the rest of us so we don't have to describe the images now. Okay, so do consider contrast, curve edges contrast with straight edges. So if you're going to use some kind of graphics, think about the contrast between curved lines and straight edges. Let's see. Also black and white and color. So on the left, you see you've got black and white and gray, and the color red really pops out. And then on the right-hand side, you got the burger in black and white, and then the words yum in yellow and black pop out. So think about that. If you're going to be using a color image, think about how you might use black and white or color to create contrast. If you have an area that has a big empty space, that might be the ideal place to put your font and your message. Also about transparency. Transparency, you'll see in the green image there, one step, two step. So you've got big, solid, opaque, saturated background, and then you have a white box where the green pops out, and then you have a less opaque image where you have the two-step. That creates interest, and it almost kind of draws our eye into it, right?